What is up, YouTube? Zuki M1 here, and I am back with a brand new YouTube video. Today we are going to be looking at the power ranking of our weekly Brawlhalla tournament. So, without further ado, let's get on with the video. So, well, here we are. Here's the list. We're going to go down in order, talking about the players, and then we're going to go more in depth on each individual players as to why they are so strong and why they have been consistently topping such events, or why they've been consistently placing within some of the highest ranks. So let's go ahead and take a look at the list. So looking at the list, we got Phil at number 1. It was actually taking a little bit of time to try to figure out if Phil or Mod was the one that was going to be in the top spot. Both parties have been able to top multiple weekly tournaments at the top of the tournament. They have yet to been defeated whenever they participate in the tournaments. Mod has been defeated a couple times, but Phil, on the other hand, has yet to been defeated. With a solid 5 tournaments underneath his belts. I think it's like 5. Yeah, it's 5. So he is pretty fucking strong right now. Yeah, and I mean, one of the biggest things that Phil has going for him is that he is, well, I mean, he's 2,500 elo. You know, it's kind of hard to compete against that for most people. So, yeah, I mean, he just holds that position down. A lot of times he likes to troll, so that sometimes bite him in the butt. But when he buckles down and gets serious with his core pick, he doesn't rarely lose. So on to the next person of interest is Master of Donkeys, or Mod. Mod, being a very less serious player, extremely busy as well. He doesn't get a chance to participate in tournaments as much as he, well, probably just not like that at all, just because, I mean, Mod is a person who just makes time for things that he wants to make time for. So if he wants to, he'll show up. If not, then, you know. So Mod is our second place player. He is one of the most stylish players that we have on our list right here. Probably the most stylish player on the list. Focuses more on flashy plays than actually executing his opponent. He does have 5 wins underneath his belt, but he does have quite a few different losses as well. One of them being from a person named Anime Kami. Another one outside of Anime Kami, coming from Phil, coming from Weiss, coming from Zappy. He's lost on some different occasions. He doesn't lose that often, but when he does lose, it's a very big, like, whoa, you know. So Master Donkeys is the second strongest player in our weekly Brawlhalla tournaments, with number 3 being Passive. Now, Passive started off as a player that did not have as much impact as the first 2. He was very much undervalued as a player. But as he kept playing, he just kept improving. Now he's 2,300 elo, close to about 2,400 elo last season, and has been winning events left and right, from either 2v2s to 1v1s. He's just a strong player. From his picks with Cassidy, with his picks with Olgrim, with his picks from Rayman, he's just gone from one meta pick to the other meta picks, but he still has consistently been beating most people. He does lose. He does lose. A lot more than the first 2 does. which is hence the reason why he is not number one or number two, but he does win a lot. Um, he has consistently won 2v2s. He's consistently won 1v1s. He has 5 wins underneath his belt and just hold that with authority. Right, very strong pick. Definitely somebody to be afraid of if you see him in your bracket. Coming up next, we got Zappy, aka Pancakes, aka Nuri. Depends on what you know him as, but on this channel we know him as Zappy. So Zappy being um, one of those picks that is a player who is not exactly able to consistently always play in all the tournaments that he does sign up for, but when he does get a chance to play, he does make a big splash. Uh, one of the first ones to consistently win multiple tournaments underneath their belts. Zappy has four overall weekly Brawlhalla cha- uh, 4 weekly Brawlhalla tournaments underneath his belt. Um, yeah, I mean, there's really not too much to say about him other than the fact that he's one of the most controlling players in this game. And what I mean by that is that when you play the game with Zappy, he plays a very defensive parry style of gameplay. But it can switch from defensive parry to offensive parry. It just depends on the course of the match. He's very adaptive. He's been playing since something rough to about 2018, from back when I first started my channel. So seeing him now is probably one of the most humbling things that you can possibly see as a content creator, because he has definitely come a long way and he has a long way more to go. So Zappy being the number 4 slot, I think he's a very, very strong threat when he's able to play. But yeah, definitely be on the lookout for Zappy when you see him in the tournaments. Next, we have Human Gorilla being being our next participant on the bracket. He started playing sometime at the early beginning of 2020, um, and there's really not too much more to say about him than he is probably one of the most improved players to play on the stream. Starting off as a low plat player who did not have zero impact on the tournaments, becoming one of the most sought after um, player in the tournaments, where people specifically ask to say that they want to fight it against them in the tournaments, which is kind of nuts to think about if you really think about it, right? Um, he is a very, very strong threat. Definitely somebody to be afraid of. Definitely somebody to be on the lookout for. His known pick is his Orion pick. That's the pick that you should probably be the most afraid of, because when he busts out the Orion pick, he's a very aggro player. He's going to be in your face from start to finish. He understands how to play against parry. He understands how to play against passive. He understands how to play against all of these different types of play styles. Consistently being able to beat players like Mod, Passive, and Zappy. He's yet to be filled. But he's definitely somebody that has made a lot of different upsets when he was first starting out, and now is one of the highest seed picks in the tournaments. Hence the reason why he's in the top 5. But moving on, we're going with Grog, another highly improved player on the streams, going from being a low plat player again to becoming a diamond player. Both Human Gorilla and Grog becoming diamond players after playing in these tournaments. Had elevated their gameplay and eventually became some of the strongest threats on the stream. Now, some of you guys may be looking at the list and be a little bit curious as to why certain names are above other names, because Grog has only 2 wins underneath his belt, while Weiss, as you guys can see on number 7, it has 3 wins underneath his belt. And I'll explain that in just a second. So Grog is one of the most improved players, having the most upsets in all of the tournaments. So in terms of like pairings, when these tournaments are paired up and players have to play against each other, Grog has played against some of the most strongest players on the screen, the highest seed players, when he was just somebody that most people thought wasn't going to be able to do anything. He was able to defeat Mod. He was able to defeat Weiss. He was able to defeat Zappy. He was able to defeat Gorilla. He was able to defeat a whole lot of different players. And, he has the most upsets underneath his belt. He may not have the most wins with only 2, but he definitely has the most upsets, which definitely counts a little bit more, only because of the fact that you can elevate your gameplay to the point where you're able to beat people who are in a higher seed than you. And I personally rank that a little bit higher than someone who has won in tournaments where there was less competition. So on to number 7. So not to discredit Weiss in any way, shape, or form. He is literally one of the strongest arguments that we have on the screen besides Master of Donkeys. The problem is that the tournaments that he had won, there wasn't that much amount of competition. There was a lot of newcomers to the stream and things of that nature. The consistent player base that we are known to have, like Phil or Mod or Passive or Zappy, wasn't in those tournaments. So when he won those events, there wasn't really too many people to compete against him to really challenge his, him winning those tournaments. So he kind of won very authoritatively, right? Just multiple 3 stocks or just doing goofy stuff throughout the course of the match because the competition just wasn't able to stop him, right? That being said, Weiss is definitely a very strong pick. He has a couple upsets underneath his belt. Very solid player, very good. Has won, again, like I said before, 3 different tournaments underneath his belt. One of them being a very difficult tournament with him fighting against Zappy, Gorilla, and Mod to be able to win that whole thing. So it's not like he's a slacker, but the other 2 tournaments that he did win, the competition wasn't there. There's just no other way to put it. The competition wasn't there. He didn't get a chance to really flex that Artemis muscle, But on to number 8, we have Demolition Man. So again, another player who started off as a plat player. I think he was around just 1680 actually when he first started. Playing in the tournaments, he constantly improved his gameplay, eventually making it to Diamond with Cross. Since then, he had dropped Cross, went from Yumiko, went from Yumiko, and now is currently playing Thor. So, there's really not too much to say about Demo other than that he's just a really solid player. He's won actually 2 tournaments, surprisingly. No, and that's not to, again, discredit Demo. I'm just surprised. Yeah, when you go back and go look at the tournaments and things of that nature, you don't remember all of them because there's just so many of them because it's every single week. But when I was looking at it, and I was like, wow, Demo has won twice, and had smacked on a couple people. He had made it to the semifinals quite a few different times, actually, going up against Field, going up against Mod, going up against Passive. And, he's just a really all-around good hammer player. So definitely be on the lookout for Demo when he plays. He's currently having controller issues. It's just really sad, but he's definitely a really strong player, nonetheless. We got Street Fighter V Pro. For you guys who watch the stream regularly, Street Fighter V Pro, aka Michael Greg. He's just a good player. He hasn't won a single tournament. Yeah, but uh, he is definitely somebody who is consistently in the finals. Like, I don't understand how he hasn't reached Diamond yet, but he's definitely a high plat player. Uh, Originally, when he first started playing on my streams, he was known as Darkstorm, and Darkstorm was when he was in silver. Actually, he started off in silver on my streams, and now he's high. He's a higher ranking player than me now. So that just goes to show you how much you can gain from playing against high elo players regularly and things of that nature. So definitely hasn't won any tournaments yet, but has too many upsets to count. Um, Second to Grog, but not more than Grog. Grog has more upsets than Street Fighter V Pro, but he definitely has a lot, like a lot. Yeah, I mean, going from picks like Orion to Teros to Artemis to pretty much every character in the entire cast. He very comfortable with any weapon in the game and can pretty much give you a good solid run for your money. And if you're not careful, he will win games on you. Definitely a solid pick. Definitely somebody you guys should be having on your radar to be looking out for. Last pick that we got is it says E-Gun. Actually, I made a mistake. Sorry, E-Gun. This is actually supposed to be like this. Nope. He's supposed to be number 10. He's supposed to be number 9. And this is supposed to be... There we go. So I accidentally skipped the player. That was GG Laser. So Laser has 2 wins underneath his belts. So he goes, as you can see, it's like 5, 5, 4. No, it's 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 2, 0. In terms of wins, tournament wins. But Laser, again, another one of those players who came to the stream, was a high plat player, eventually got to Diamond. Started off with seeing picks like Thor, dropped Thor, picked up Barraza. Barraza winning his first weekly tournament, beating Human Gorilla in the finals of that tournament. And then he didn't win the week after that, and then the next week he ended up winning again with Barraza, winning his second weekly Brawlhalla tournament. He has a very explosive game style, but he also is very fragile. And I hate to say that because he's a very good player, but his mentality tends to get the better of him in these tournaments, causing him to throw games. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He just throws games. And because of that, his mentality costs him any type of advantages that he would have in these matches and stuff like that. But definitely a very good player. Plays a variety of weapons. Actually, maining Scythe at this point in time in his current career. He's maining Mordax. So definitely a strong pick. Glaring weaknesses being Lance, passive gameplay, and just very, very parry style of gameplay. Those things will set him off, and yeah, I don't wanna harp on the man too much. But honorable mentions, people that we definitely cannot forget to mention. We got Wubs in here, one of our highest ranking players to ever play on our streams, currently ranked on the actual power ranking system for Brawlhalla at like somewhere around top 20, top 50 or something like that. He's pretty high up there. Um, and whenever he participated in tournaments, he had never lost. He lost one time, but it wasn't because of him. It was because of his uh, internet connection. His internet connection went out, so he ended up losing. But besides that, he's never lost a tournament that he's ever played in on our stream. Um, he's just a really strong ass player. Like some of the most stylish combos I had ever seen on stream before. Just dominant. Like I'm not gonna stunt. Webbs is a fucking alpha. It's unfortunate that his schedule just doesn't line up with ours anymore. And there's really no value in like playing on our streams anymore for him. But he was definitely, when he did have the time to play, he was definitely one of the most feared and controversial players on our stream. There was a lot of controversy around him. I don't want to go into too much details because that was in the past, but he definitely had a lot of controversy centered around him and his group, Hypnotic. But things have changed since then. He's definitely a really cool person. Me and him are on really good terms and stuff like that. So Webbs is our number one honorable mention. Number two being Wingshell, another professional Brawlhalla player. Round 26, 2700 elo. A Val main, and just probably one of the strongest and probably one of the nicest guys you guys will get a chance to meet that plays professionally. Um, you can see some of his clips on Brawlhalla. You can see some of his clips online and stuff like that as well, outside of my channel, by the way. Same thing goes for Webbs as well. It's just both of these two just don't have that much time on their hands. So because both of them just don't have that much time on their hands, they just don't compete like that, unfortunately. But if they did, they probably would perform like dramatically well. Now, Wingshell actually don't have that strong of a record. He actually lost to a couple other players on our stream, like Wubs or Lil Penguin. Penguin was a high-ranking Drax player who used to play Lance. That used to play on our stream, but he kind of dropped the game, and so that pushed up Wingshell higher on the bracket and things of that nature. So Wingshell being the second highest honorable mention player on this list. Next is Sir Jaxus. Sir Jaxus is a Teros main, level 100, 23 something, 2300 elo. Definitely a player that, if could participate more, would probably perform higher, but I've only had the opportunity of participating, I think, in like one tournament. He won that one tournament that he participated in, but he only got a chance to participate in one, which is a little disheartening because it's like, man, I would love to see more of you, but I understand, you're a busy player. You play in a lot of tournaments and stuff like that. The majority of the honorable mention players are all high-ranking players who play in like big Brawlhalla tournaments for like thousands of dollars and stuff like that. So it's understandable that they don't have enough time to make it to these weekly Brawlhalla tournaments and things of that nature. But Sir Jax is definitely being another one of the honorable mentions that needs to be brought up and stuff like that. The last one, the next to two last is G-Bone 15. He is a Koji main. He has won two tournaments since he's played on our streams. Those two tournaments he had won. He won with his Koji pick. He beat Human Gorilla in one, and then he beat, I want to say, I want to say it was, I don't think it was Phil. I think it was either Strife Knight or Demo. I think it was Strife Knight or Demo. But he defeated them to get his first two tournament wins. He does have a loss on his belt. But, a really, really strong player. I think he's somewhere around 2300, 2400 player. And just really solid gameplay overall. if you guys get a chance to, definitely go look up some of his gameplay on the channel and stuff like that. Last person being Gentleton. Gentleton is actually one of those weird cases for us on the stream. He participates in the weekly tournaments a little bit more than the other guys that are on the honorable mention, but he hasn't won actually any tournaments. Also, he hasn't had too many upsets on his belt. He's actually started to get like this stigma around him that he just chokes quite a bit in tournaments, which is really unfortunate because he's a very, very, very strong player. But unfortunately, he just can't perform under pressure in those particular situations. So he's lost to picks. I mean, to players that he shouldn't have lost, like Street Fighter V Pro, Guns, and like a couple other picks and stuff like that, which is a little disappointing to see, but that is how it goes sometimes. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. We were just having a small discussion on the power ranking systems. If you guys have your own power ranking system for our weekly 1v1 tournaments, go ahead and toss it in the bottom of the comment sections. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. We're like 7 subscribers away from 2,000. Like, that's pretty fucking crazy. Thank you guys so much. If you guys haven't already, submit a clip to me of your favorite stream moments. And I'll put it in my 2,000 subscriber thank you letter, essentially. Just going over some of our favorite moments. I don't expect everybody to participate in that or whatever, but I would really like to have like more than just like a couple clips, because right now as it is, I think I got like 2 clips. But if you guys would like to, just send me a clip of your favorite stream moments. I'll compilate it, and then we can, you know, preview it and enjoy some of our favorite moments on stream. But anywhoosies, I'm gonna close out the video. So if you guys did like this video, please hit the young like button. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit me up with the young subscribe button. But this has been ZPM1. And I hope you guys have a great morning, great evening, great afternoon, and great night. But I'm going to catch you guys in the next video. Peace.